way 3,000 miles in 12 days. Incredible. Now, there's one person in here who did that exact journey, Paul, and Paul's going to tell you about how he went to see this osprey in Senegal.
Right, well, good morning. Now, I flew all the way to Senegal, not as the osprey flapping my arms. I was in a plane, and where it had taken the osprey nearly 2 weeks to get to Senegal, I got there in 6 hours. But I flew all the way along the Red Line until we arrived in Africa, 3,000 miles. And then once I'd arrived in Africa, I then had to drive another 300 miles to get to the beach where this osprey was living. Now, somebody at the back mentioned GPS, the way we track them. Well, the osprey has this little tracker on his back, like a rucksack, as Tim told you, but we can then trace him with a little handheld unit, and we can find exactly the spot where the osprey was on the beach. And this shows us the beach where he'd flown to. And these red dots, they all indicate a point where he was sitting at a certain time in the day. And if we look up here, there's one where he's flown from the beach out to sea. And why do you think he flew out to sea? Yes? Isn't that?
To get his food.
That's right, so he flew out to sea to catch fish. Now, I was lucky enough to arrive there on the 27th of January. And we arrived late in the afternoon, and we were that excited that we decided we were going to see the osprey, even though it was getting dark and the tide was coming in. And we had to drive all the way along the beach. And this is what the beach was like. Very, very sandy, all the waves breaking on the beach. And can you see in the background?
Yeah, no.
The cart. What happens is, not far from the beach, they grow vegetables. And all day long, there are carts coming up and down the beach bringing the vegetables. And if you go into Tesco's or Sainsbury's, and you look on some of the vegetables, it will say Senegal. And lots of the vegetables that you eat were actually grown in Africa, near where these ospreys live. So, I arrived at the beach late on the afternoon, and this perch here is the exact position that the osprey sits on. So we use the GPS, they're the numbers at the top, and the machine tells us we're getting closer and closer. And as we got closer and closer to that spot, I became quite emotional. And who knows what that means, the word emotional? Yes? Yeah, I was excited, I was sad. I was going to see a bird that I've been watching for years, just down the road, 2 miles from here, and I'd gone 3,000 miles, and I was going to be one of the first people ever to see a Rutland bird in Africa. So we found this perch, and then what happened is at 4 o'clock on that afternoon, all these spots are different things that he'd done during the day. And this one is 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I saw him sitting, her, sitting on a branch in the woods. And we were able to tell it was our bird because it has a yellow ring on its leg, and it has the number 30 on it. But also, I could see the aerial on its back, because it has the little satellite tracker with maybe a 4-inch aerial on the back. And I was so excited. But that was the end of the first day. So we went back to our